Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the games released this year that were staggering in their difficulty. Number 10, Hell is Us. While you can lessen how brutal the combat can be by lowering the settings, don't expect any hand-holding when it comes to navigation through this underrated gem. Hell is Us is very much deliberate in offering nothing in the way of direction, leaving you to piece together what is going on, including the story behind the various atrocities behind the civil war dotted across the land. Not to mention why you're being attacked by faceless entities. Throw in puzzles that are the furthest thing from simple and you're left with an uphill climb as to how to proceed. The fact Hell is Us was able to turn this into such a positive can't be ignored. Number 9, Silent Hill F. The only thing scarier than dealing with living nightmares born from the trauma of a young woman during the oppressive reality of 1960s Japan? Clunky combat. Hinako's struggle to survive is gnarly enough, given the voracity of the monsters on her heels, not to mention how everyone in her peer group are slowly losing their minds, while the only way to defend herself is by lashing out with whatever blunt object she can get her hands on. Unfortunately, Hinako, being a meek teenager, isn't exactly adept at bringing the pain, or parrying, or dodging. On harder difficulties, taking down enemies and bosses can feel arduous to the nth degree, and that's to say nothing of how complex the puzzles can be. Number 8, Captain Blood. We never said this selection had to be made up of good games, and unfortunately 2025 had plenty of stinkers, with this one in particular really making the journey towards the finish line as much of a grind as possible. While it presents itself as a pirate game that harkens back to the days of old school PS2 action titles, Captain Blood also inherits the worst attributes from that era, namely janky controls, super spongy enemies, and combat that makes every encounter a chore to complete, especially when it comes to the bosses. Pirate games have had a real rough time of it recently, and due to its core mechanics being so needlessly aggravating, Captain Blood easily joins the pile down in Davy Jones's locker. Number 7, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. When it comes to upping the ante in turn-based games, the only options available tend to be buffing the enemies to ludicrous degrees and limiting the resources of your party. Expedition 33 shifted all conventions on its head by integrating mechanics such as dodging, parrying, and third-person shooting into its gameplay cycle. Not only did this add a whole new dimension to battles, but also gave the game plenty of excuses to go crazy with difficulty spikes.
Ready to evade.
Enemies will have askew attack timings, forcing players to make split-second decisions to either dodge or risk a counter. It can feel unrelenting and unforgiving at times, especially with some of its late-game bosses, and yet never feels cheap. Just another layer on top of what makes Expedition 33 such a masterpiece. Number 6, Lies of P, Overture. Much like the top tier Souls-like DLC of the past, Overture is a triumph in just about everything it tries to do. More weapons, more bosses, more lore, and tremendously enhances the base game merely by its inclusion. And in typical Lies of P fashion, it's a gauntlet of steel that will have you falling prey to the game over screen more times than you care to admit. The inclusion of difficulty settings aside, the puppets and monsters found across this DLC, including resident big bad Arlecchino, will test you like never before, regardless of all your fancy new toys. Number 5. Kingdom Come: Deliverance II.
Oh! Bleeding, are we? Want me to get...
Have you been hungering for an RPG that goes deep when it comes to choice and consequence? How about one that revels in its historic setting and strives for accuracy and realism on every fundamental level? Then Deliverance 2 is your holy grail. Just be warned that it takes its role-playing very seriously. Cutting your way through political intrigue and sieges as would-be Knight Henry is the furthest thing from simple, not only due to the first-person melee combat, but because you'll also have to maintain your health, fatigue, cleanliness, weapons, and so much more. Like we said, they went deep on this, so don't expect to leap into battle like a one-man army. Otherwise, prepare to be humbled.
Oh God, this man's name in your face for that!
Number 4. Hollow Knight: Silksong. This long-awaited sequel quickly established that, while it retained plenty of what made the original Metroidvania such a sensation, it was also packing way more bite. Hornet's exploration into Farloom is chock full of dangers, whether it be some of the hardest bosses the genre has ever known to hazardous platforming around every corner. But unlike its predecessor, it goes all in on making you feel like you're constantly outnumbered and outclassed. Double damage is a constant threat, from both regular enemies as well as traps littered across the map. All the while, pogoing and platforming come in at an angle, meaning every movement needs to be a calculated one. It can be a grueling experience for those who aren't willing to, in Hornet's own words, get good. Number 3. Elden Ring: Nightreign. Whether it's an open world adventure or a roguelike, a FromSoft game is still a FromSoft game, so expect to have the grace of gold snatched out of you more than once. With limited time to level up and gather weapons, taking on a randomized gauntlet of bosses straight out of the Dark Souls and Elden Ring catalogue can be brutal, depending on your luck. Doubly so if you dare to take on an expedition solo, as opposed to with a group of other players. Though even that may not be enough when you reach the end of a run and have to contend with one of the Night Lords. Number 2. Ninja Gaiden II Black. This game destroyed us back in 2008, and nearly 20 years later, it's still kicking all our asses. While Ninja Gaiden 4 offered a far more polished yet still trying experience, this remaster of Ryu Hayabusa's iconic second outing is a true trial by fire. Assuming you play on anything other than hero mode. Enemies will annihilate you, soaking up a crazy amount of damage while often ignoring your blows altogether. Ripping and tearing through demons with an awesome collection of ninja tools certainly hits the sweet spot. But for anyone who isn't willing to embrace the aggressiveness and off-screen bombardments, this is a baptism in blood.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The First Berserker, Khazan. Cleaving its way to the top, Khazan tore apart the competition and established itself as a name forever synonymous with controller-breaking, rage-inducing, yet highly addictive gameplay. Blending together the merciless bosses found in Souls games with an emphasis on parries, chaining combos, and RPG loadouts, Khazan succeeds in setting itself apart from its contemporaries as a gore-filled dark fantasy phenomenon, while still making you sweat each time you take another step on Khazan's road to revenge. The learning curve can feel impossible at times, but stick with it long enough and you'll soon find yourself relishing in the combat. And for the true masochists out there, it's even got a hardcore mode. Which of these games broke you? Let us know in the comments.